Welcome everyone to take your copy to the next persuasive level using story. As a copywriter, I'm always looking for something new to improve results, and I'm always looking for some new tweaks that I can test. So today we're going to talk about some different copywriting formulas to hopefully give you some new ideas. We're going to talk about the sales process, which is a very popular copywriting formula. Maybe you're already using it or some of the components of it. We're going to move on to variations of the sales process, including the story variation. I'm excited about the story variation because I think it helps us really analyze the prospect situation and think about what the prospect is going through. And I think it will help you think of new directions for your overall message. Stick around to the end. There's bonus content that will give you the steps in the sales process, the variations we're going to talk about, as well as the steps in the story approach. So how does copy become more compelling? Well, I think there's at least two ways. One is to be more specific to your audience with your messages. And we're going to spend a lot of time on that today in terms of the story approach, which I think does that really well. And then we're going to talk about taking our target customer on a simple but relevant journey with a successful outcome. That's what the story approach is all about. So which copy formulas sell? Well, let's start at the beginning. I don't know if you've heard of AIDA. I'm sure you have. Some people, some copywriters still say that this is the formula they use. AIDA stands for awareness, interest, desire, and action. But really, it's not a specific direction for your copy. It's really the stages that customers follow when they make a purchase decision. And I don't think this gives really a copywriter enough to go on, because that's really not, they're not persuasion components. They wouldn't help a salesperson. And of course, we are selling in words. So if it's not going to help a salesperson, it's not going to be enough insight to copywriters. We really want something that's going to work well. Just think if you were a sales manager and you were hiring a new sales rep and you were in charge of training, you would never say to your new sales rep, yeah, here's all you need to do is just generate some awareness and some interest and desire and action. No, it's not enough to help a salesperson. And so it's just not enough for copywriters. Great salespeople follow a process called the sales process, which we're going to talk about. Well, if we're selling with words, we should be following a similar process. So the most effective sales components tend to be what your best salespeople would say. So let's see what that looks like. Here are the stages in AID. A, the components of the sales process certainly help you achieve them, but they're so much more specific in terms of direction for your copy. So the sales process typically starts out with some pain and or some pleasure. So are you having a problem with? Are you struggling with? Gee, wouldn't it be great if you could? And then you present your solution. Then you tell me all of the what's in it for me benefits, not the facts, but the why I should care benefits. Then you give me a specific offer and tell me how to get it. Give me a reason to act now and how to get it. If you're generating leads, you stop there, right? You've got me interested with the pain, pleasure lead in. You've told me you've got a webinar or a piece of downloadable content. You tell me all the things I'm going to learn, and then you tell me how to get it. And that's lead generation. But if you're selling direct, you have to go on. You have to take a couple other steps. And it all involves answering objections, because as soon as we leave an objection in somebody's mind, they're not going to take action. So they might have an issue with, I don't see the value. I don't think it's going to be easy to use for my team or for me. And why should I buy from you? You really need to build some credibility. And then you repitch the offer. Now, if I was selling in person or over the phone, I'd have an opportunity to find out what the objections were. I'd say something like, what's standing in the way of you making a decision today? And you'd tell me, hopefully, what you were thinking, and then I'd have an opportunity to answer those objections. And then once the objections were answered, then I'd go for the close. We don't have that opportunity, so we have to kind of pre-think what those objections are and be sure that we answer them. I'm sure you've seen the sales process in action. It's used in hundreds, thousands of websites. I'm sure you see it every day. Very common on a lead generation page, very common on a sales page. Maybe you're using it, very common on email as well. And in fact, there are many variations of the sales process depending on what your individual situation is. And copyhackers.com has actually published 15 different copywriting formulas. So if you really want to read about them, it's copyhackers.com/2015/10/copywriting-formula. They actually start with AIDA and go on through all the variations of the sales process. So let's look at some of the variations. So here's the basic sales process, but depending on your situation, you might want to vary it a little bit. One of the formulas that's actually very popular is called PAS, pain, agitation, really agitating the pain, and then solution. There's one speaker right now who believes that your email series should really agitate that pain, okay? You might, in your situation, need to describe the problem. Maybe your audience doesn't even recognize the problem. I have a client that sells real estate errors and omissions insurance to real estate licensees, and a lot of them don't realize that if they choose a generic policy used by many industries, it may not cover their specific risks, like lockbox protection and fair housing stuff, things that are specific to them. So I have to weave into the sales process a description of the problem because they may not recognize it. Always good to talk about, we know how you feel, we understand your pain, so you might want to work empathy in there. The sales process actually encourages this, so you'll see that a little later. If you have proof, if you have any numbers to really talk about what kind of results your audience is going to get from your solution. If you have customer reviews, third-party reviews, and anything to demonstrate value is always a great addition. And these things can actually help to answer objections. You might have to discredit other solutions. You'll see, we're going to go through a case study, and I have a client that sells online courses, and all of their competition sells video courses and audio courses and in-person courses, and my client sells online PDFs. So what can I do there? So I had to do some research and determine, that you can actually read a PDF faster than going through a video or an audio file. It helps you retain information. Some people believe that it might help you comprehend what you've read. So I had to do some research to figure out how I was going to actually discredit other solutions and at the same time prove that my client solution was the best. Always good to talk about the consequences of failing to take action today. Every day that you delay is a day that you're going to miss out. You'll see that also in the story approach. The story approach is really a variation, another variation of the sales process, but I think it's a really interesting one, and I'm seeing great results with it already. I think you will really like it for two specific reasons. I think it helps us all to present a stronger, more unique, memorable brand promise. That's what I think it's really good at. And secondly, it helps the prospect to kind of walk through the decision through your story. So let's see how it all works. So there are many story approaches or whatever philosophies that people have been talking about, but I'm going to talk about one in particular from Donald Miller. He wrote a book called Building a Story Brand, which I highly recommend. I think it's really useful. And here are some of the basic structures of the story approach. So you want a simple, relevant, repeatable, memorable single statement to summarize the story. That's kind of your whole brand promise. The prospect is the hero in your story versus our company. And of course, isn't that the challenge? Because we all want to talk about our company and we and our solution. But we really need to be sure that everything is all about the prospect, because our prospects could care less about our company and our products. They only care about what's in it for them. We're going to be going through 7 categories, and the idea is to create a clear statement in 7 categories that position you as a trusted guide to solve their problem. And finally, your product or solution should transform them, help them become a better version of themselves, or inspire them or change their life. This works both for consumers as well as business prospects. So you'll see some examples of both. So the 7 steps in the story, we're just going to go through them quickly, and then we will go into each one in more detail. So they are similar to the sales process, but they kind of mix things around a little bit. So here are the 7 steps in the story copy formula. First, what does the prospect want? Okay. Then what are the things standing in the way? What are the problems or challenges standing in the way of that prospect getting what he or she wants? These two combined is almost like the agitation variation that we saw earlier. Then we say, we are the trusted guide. We understand your situation, and we have the expertise to deliver it. And in fact, we have a clear plan of action. Here's all you need to do. Challenge them to take action. Always talk about what will happen if you don't take action. Remember, we saw that in the variation. And then finish the story with a successful vision of life after the purchase. So whereas the sales process focuses on the offer and specific benefits that are kind of listed out, the story kind of weaves the benefits and answers objections sort of throughout. So it's just a slightly different approach. I think you'll like it. So let's have a look at those 7 steps in a little more detail. So this is the case study for my online courses client, Relstone. Here's step 1. What does the prospect want? Hopefully there's a specific desire that you can become known for helping your customers achieve. As you go through each of these 7, I would suggest that you just start writing the answers and then hone the words later. Don't worry about writing copy initially. So what we did is we just started writing, tried to hone it, and then came up with our final statement. So you might have the situation as well. With Relstone, they have multiple audiences that are rather diverse. So they sell continuing education courses in 47 states to insurance agents, certified financial planners, and then they sell continuing education for real estate agents, but only in California. And then their other audience is for Californians. They sell courses if you want to become a real estate agent or a broker. So the audiences are rather diverse in what they want. So with the continuing education people, they just want to get it done. They want to get their continuing education done fast, easily, as painlessly, as inexpensively as they possibly can. Our California real estate people, they need to actually learn because they need to pass the exam. So how do you turn these 2 ideas into one statement? Well, here's where we are now. The most effective way to learn and pass. So everybody needs to pass. That's pretty critical to finishing each course. And I decided to turn the fact that I found that PDFs are a really effective way to learn into our whole brand promise as the most effective way to learn. So that's where we are. Step 2, what's standing in the way? What's the problem? What are the frustrations that your audience goes through? So in looking at these online courses, there are a ton of people offering them. So just trying to talk them through. So many choices. What if you make the wrong decision? What if you choose a class that takes you longer to finish? What if you choose a course format that makes it hard to go back if you miss something? And what if you do all the coursework and don't pass? So how do you take all of that frustration and turn it into a single statement? Well, it's kind of a long statement, but here's where we are. You don't want to choose a class that takes you longer to finish or you struggle to pass, or a format that's frustrating when you're trying to learn. You see, everything is you making that prospect the hero of your story. Step 3, we are your guide. We want to empathize with their feelings, but establish our expertise. Hey, we can help you. We've been there. We understand your pain, but we can get you through it. So we know you don't want to risk choosing the wrong school for your courses. Experience matters. Okay, that's where we started. But really, I think the strongest thing this particular company can say is they've been around forever. So they have over 4 million courses successfully completed. That's I think a pretty good competency statement. So no matter your licensing or renewal situation, we can guide you through it. And here's step 4, your clear step-by-step plan that you're going to present to them. It could be a process. Ideally, your journey is going to be 4 or fewer steps, or it might be an agreement like a warranty or a guarantee. We actually have both. Here are our 4 steps. Download your course and get started today. Get your optional printed textbooks tomorrow. Have a real expert with 21 years experience on calls 7 days a week for questions. They've been around forever, so they actually have people on the phone with an average of 21 years experience. So I thought that was a benefit. I put it right in here. And feel confident you have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Step 5, here's the call to action. We have to shake them by the shoulders and get them to take some action, because there has to be a really strong reason to get people to take action. So get started today risk-free and be that much closer to finishing. Remember, we said that that's what those CE people really want to do. They just want to get it done. Now we can go on to step 6, avoiding failure, the cost of not taking action. Most people, according to Donald Miller, are more likely to make a change to avoid a loss as opposed to gaining something. So every day you delay, let's talk about the loss. Every day you delay is a day you could have gotten started toward the finish line, which is sort of agitating the pain, isn't it? And then you end in success. You give them a successful vision of what life is going to be like after the purchase, where you want to take them on this journey, who they want to be, how we're going to change their lives, inspire them. Here's our inspirational phrase here. Your next career success could be just a course away. So this obviously applies perfectly to those who are starting a real estate career or taking the next step up to a broker. But it also could be for our insurance people. If they take a course they've never had before, maybe it could lead them into new areas that they haven't sold before. So those are the 7 steps. Let's look at the story put together now. Here's the outline. The most effective way to learn and pass. You don't want to choose a class that takes you longer to finish, a class you struggle to pass, or a format that's frustrating when you're trying to learn. Over 4 million courses have been successfully completed with Railstone. No matter your licensing or renewal situation, we can guide you through it. Here's the 4 steps that we went through. Get started today risk-free and be that much closer to finishing. Every day you delay is a day you could have gotten started toward the finish line, and your next career success could be just a course away. So let's see how it actually looks. This is an old version of the homepage. This gray part, actually, it has this stuff in back of it, but it didn't come out when I took the screenshot, so sorry about that. Like many websites, Ralston has this banner. And this is really valuable real estate, but for some reason they're taking up a portion of it by reiterating their company name, which is in the masthead anyway. So we really don't want to do that. We don't need to do that. This real estate is too valuable. So at least they told us what they offered: insurance CE and California real estate courses. A few benefits here: will beat any other advertised price. We answer the phone 7 days a week. Okay, it's a good start, but I think we can do better. As we started working on their benefits, we changed it to learn faster, more easily, more effectively, over 4 million courses completed. Okay, that's stronger. Still not perfect, but it's stronger. And now we're testing this. More of a story approach, the most effective learning format to pass fast. Remember, I told you I did research on how effective reading PDFs was, and now our whole brand promise is the most effective learning format. Over 4 million courses completed. Here's what the homepage, the rest of it, used to look like. There was, I don't know if you can see, there was a lot of we have built, we started, we've helped, we offer. And so we want to talk about, or we want to talk to the audience by saying you. We used to call this weeing all over yourself, which is not a good thing. So how can we change that? Okay, as we started to work on their benefits, easy to complete online courses, easier to complete and pass because your exams have fewer questions, learn more effectively with PDFs. As I said, I figured that out. You can learn at your own pace, easily reread passages, comprehend and retain more by seeing the words. Okay, get the best value, have 5-star support. We had a client actually give us a testimonial that said, you guys have 5-star customer service. So I'm using that everywhere. And then no risk to try it for 30 days. Finish more easily, learn more effectively, get the best value, have incredible support. It's a much better story. It's easier to see the benefits. It's you oriented, right? If you start with a verb, the you is kind of implied. You will learn, you will get, you will have. So it's a good start, but here's where we are now with more of a story approach. What's the most effective way to learn online? Reading is faster. See, I put this first now because this is our whole position. Reading is faster. Download PDFs. How do you know the courses will be easier to complete and pass? Well, the exams have fewer questions. Hundreds of thousands have successfully completed these courses. 5-star guidance. Get the best value, no risk. Every day you delay getting started is the day you could have been closer to the finish line. So why not get started today? Your next career success could be just a course away. So you see how the story components, those 7 that we went through, appear pretty clearly here on this homepage. What if you're doing lead generation? Let's look at another example. This is actually from our website. I reiterated the 7 steps up here to remind us. So step 1, what do they want? When your website has a leads or sales problem, what's standing in the way? Well, how do you know any enhancements will improve results? You need a guide with a plan. You need a plan to improve your website. And here's our position now based on your own analytics. So you can see where there are problems or opportunities, and you can focus your budget dollars where they'll have the biggest impact. Here's the empathy. We know you need to show measurable improvements for your money. So now we're going on to the call to action. Take the first step, download our 12 action items to help you assess your website. avoiding failure. You'll avoid spending more time and money on website changes or a whole new website that won't result in more leads or sales. And now here's our successful transformation. And you'll discover how your website could be transformed into the most effective lead generation and sales system it can be. So you see how the story approach works really well for lead gen as well. Let's look at another example. This is an e-commerce site. Here again, this is what their banner used to look like. They've got the company name over here. So this is really not how I want to use this important real estate. They sell to researchers. So they sell primary human cells, and the primary part is really important. We'll come back to that. And they sell this thing called optimized media. Well, what the heck does that mean? Even their audience doesn't know. So I think we can do better. They are a small company. And when you call some of their large competitors today, you might get a call back tomorrow. If you call today and ask for a price quote, you might get one tomorrow. But that's not the way this company works. You call today, you talk to a live person today. You call today for a price quote, you get a price quote today. So we're calling that high priority service for scientific research. Now, here's the reason why we care about primary cells. Primary cells for true research outcomes. Oh, okay, important. And now, what the heck was that optimized media? Well, it's tailored media to optimize basically the cell life of a primary cell. Okay, so we're getting better. Here's what the homepage used to say. It's really not scannable. There's media. We have this outperform twice, which is good, but I really can't tell what's going on here quickly because it's not scannable. We have donor demographics. We have a guarantee. It's just kind of disjointed and really not put together well. So let's see if we can improve it. Here's where we went first. Now we've got some clear benefits. You'll get fast action, talk to a real person today, get a quote today, enjoy true outcomes with primary cells, prolong primary cell life with optimized media, get better performance. I thought that outperform was important enough, but it got lost in the other page. So I pulled it out as a subhead. Tailor cell selection to your research. You'll get consistently reproducible results, which is important to this audience, and enjoy high priority service. So now it's much clearer, I think, what you get and why they're different, but it's still not a comprehensive story. So we can still do better. So now we have highly tailored cells and media. Remember, we said you could select cells and the media is tailored, so I'm calling it now highly tailored cells and media. You get fast action. That's what they want. Here's the, we can relay to you. Hey, we've been researchers too for 25 years. Here are our steps in the process. You choose your primary cells, you tailor your cell selection, you choose media for each cell type, you enjoy performance. See, I pulled that out again. It's important, but I wanted it to stand out. Here's the avoid failure, avoid waiting for a callback, or choosing media not tailored for your particular primary cells, or cells not tailored for your research. Call us today for high priority service. This is a work in progress, but we're getting closer to a really good story approach here. So as I promised, here is a handout that goes through the sales process that we went through today, the variations, and each step in the story approach. You can download it at responsefx.com/copy-formulas. That's responsefx.com/copy-formulas. And if you'd like to learn more, the SD Direct group in San Diego is doing the Ultimate Copywriting Guide to Direct Marketing Success. It's going to be a workshop series that I'll be teaching for 4 weeks to transform your copywriting and boost results. So in week 1, we're going to map out your story, identify challenges that your story needs to address, and really go through the 7 steps that we went through today. On week 2, we'll then work to really hone headlines and subheads and lead-ins. In week 3, we'll work on building credibility, benefits, answering objections, and fixing every word so it can be as strong as it can be. Week 4, we're going to focus on email, writing effective subject lines, getting the click, how to incorporate story in your email, and planning a message series. It's $99 for the 4-week program. You can sign up at sddirect.org/events, and here's how it's going to work. It'll be an hour a week for 4 weeks, Fridays in February, 9 to 10 a.m. And you can dictate what you'd like to learn. So we're going to send an email before every class. You can determine what are the highest priority topics that you want to cover, questions you want answered, and you can also submit copy that you'd like me to review during the class. We will practice copy. It is a workshop, so you can submit copy as you work on it during the workshop, and there will be homework if you're interested. You can share copy for further review in a private Facebook group, and I will review it, and you can also learn from my comments on other people's copy. So again, $99 for the 4 weeks. Sign up at sddirect.org/events. So think about a $99 investment. How many more products or services, how many more orders would you have to sell to cover this investment? For most of you, probably not many. So it's a very good use of your time, a good investment. Do you think the story approach can be applied to this workshop series? Of course. Here's the story approach. When you're looking for a copy advantage, but you need some proven ways to improve, these strategies have doubled sales and boosted leads 67%. Don't keep struggling with your copy. Become the copy expert you always wanted to be. Hope you will join us. Thank you again for listening to this. Don't forget to download your handout at responsefx.com/copy-formulas. Thank you all for joining us today.